regular meeting for City Council on July 8th, 2025. If you could please stand and join Mr. Law Director here, Casey Lippert, in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Buhite, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mrs. Sharpshire?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Levitt?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. And Mr. Schmidt?
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of our last meeting? All right, seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as written and distributed. Reports and communications, Mayor Hardman.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of our folks that were involved in our 4th of July festivities, our parade, the pool, always tons of excitement. I know the parade was very well attended. I heard very good things from the folks that were down there and our festivities on the square afterwards. Obviously, it's awesome to see everybody wearing their new Sharonville t-shirts all around. Always a big highlight of the year. So a big thanks to everybody for the hard work that they do in pulling that off. With regard to Mayor's Court, for June 2025, we brought in total revenue of $24,108, bringing our year-to-date at a little over $133,600, which is about $11,000 more than the year before at this point in time. So the entire report will be made part of the minutes for anyone to review and consider as you so desire. With Mr. Coulter's approval, I would like to move up. Our police chief is here, Mr. Desbitt, who has a very special presentation. So I'd like to just go ahead and move him up into my report this evening, if that is all right with you.
Certainly.
To make that presentation, and I'm sure we'll all be excited to hear about it. So.
Thank you very much. Chief Becker is going to join me as well. This is kind of a joint effort. So on June 22nd and 23rd, we had quite a significant event. I know there were some emails that went out about it, but the event itself was a big event for the police and fire, and we wanted to take an opportunity to draw the attention to one of the actions of one of our community members. And we wanted to present them a little memento of our appreciation. And the champion of law enforcement is something that some of my staff helped me develop. And tonight, the police and fire department want to recognize one of our business members and members of our community for their efforts that brought a safe and successful conclusion to what could have been a tragedy. Champions are not born or made from a singular event. Rather, they are defined by their continued support for their community through their actions and vigilance on behalf of others. Their actions set them apart from others and bring notice to their exceptional character and commitment to our community. And it is the constant small things and their vigilance on behalf of others that express how much they truly care about our community. On June 22nd, around 6:30 p.m., the police department became aware of a critical missing autistic boy, Matthew. And as we developed our search and we started searching the areas, we knew right away that it was beyond the scope of what the police department could handle. So we reached out to the fire department, and with them we activated the urban search and rescue team, along with supporting agencies, and conducted an extensive search for this critical missing child. Based on our shared experience and our training, we focused in and around Sharon Woods and utilized available personnel, multiple drone teams, canine search and rescue teams, bike patrol and foot patrol. All of us taking a sector and conducting a thorough search. We utilized social media, code red mass notifications, as well as the mainstream media. Paul Miranda, the co-owner of Chef's Cafe with his wife Laura, saw our social media posts, and just before Paul's routine commute to work, he recognized, he saw the photos on our social media post, and on his drive-in, he saw Matthew walking on a side street. And this is the wee hours of the morning, just as the sun's coming up. Paul had a lot of choices at that time, but without hesitation, he stopped, he approached Matthew, made contact with him, which can be challenging, and he was calm to where he was, which was nowhere near where we were looking. Paul hadn't been on the lookout for what could have been a tragedy. We would have not had a successful and safe conclusion, and I know that meant so much to the family. His mother, Matthew's mother and father, were out of town, and his grandmother was caring for him. I talked to her on the phone, and we'd had quite a few contacts with her, but she did not know what to do. We had all been up all night. We started around 7 p.m. with our ground search, and this was around 6:30 a.m. when it came to a close. On behalf of both the police and fire department, we want to thank Paul and his wife Laura for their commitment and their vigilance that helped bring this to a successful conclusion. And I believe Chief Becker has something to say as well.
I do. I just wanted to make this directly toward you, Paul, and share with each and every one of you. On behalf of the City of Sharonville Fire Department, I want to sincerely thank you for what you did and what your actions helped bring forward. Your actions align closely with our mission, missions, and our mission, vision, and our core values, especially respect. That's putting others first, going above and beyond. That principle is at the heart of who we are, and you truly embody it. And we appreciate that. And what I would like to do with the police chief here is please of our mission, vision, and core values, and a token of our as a token of our gratitude.
This is a certificate of being a champion of law enforcement, and a brief citation that kind of recaps what happened that night. Rolled into the right. What? You have that? Can't be off.
Gentlemen, let's get you to turn around, look that way at Mr. Ed, so everybody get a nice picture of you. Taking the time to present that. Paul, thank you for just being a good resident, being a good person, being a champion for those that need to look out for. We appreciate that. I assume this is all family here that are here to certainly should be very proud, as we are, which is why we're glad you're here. Thanks for being a part of Sharonville. You want a photo with the family while they're all here? We can get out of the way real quick and let you do that.
I think Paul had a few things.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, please.
I want to make sure everybody can hear me, but I just want to say good evening, everyone, and I want to say especially thank you to Chief Nesbitt, Chief Becker. Thank you to the Sharonville Police Department for this honor, and the fire department. I have to be honest, I never expected to be standing here behind the counter at Chef's Cafe taking salad, sandwiches, my career, not giving speeches here at City Hall, but I'm grateful, I'm humbled, and a little shocked that this all happened. Just to kind of what happened, I cannot fully take credit for this. My wife actually shared the post to me, and to be honest with you, I thought it was just another post, a Facebook post about a boat, and I was like, oh, cool, we're looking at boats. But I looked at it and saw it was a boy missing, and then I actually saw that someone had posted on there that he'd been found. So I kind of took it for what it was. Literally everything that morning kept me, there was something that kept popping up. You know, can't leave the house, can't leave the house, can't leave the house. Finally got out of the house and getting down the road, and as I approached the intersection where I met Matthew, the light went from green to red, like immediately. I had to stop. I had to almost slam on my brakes to stop, and I literally turned to the right, and he was standing right there. It was very kind of weird, so I pulled over, called Sharonville immediately and said, you know, have you found Matthew yet? They said no. I said I found him. The officer that I talked to seemed kind of a little shocked and in disbelief because he was clearly. So pulled him over, talked to him, got him some water. He looked and enough. I had a bag of carrots that I was and offered him a carrot, and he ate the carrot. And the next day, his grandmother and him showed up at the cafe, and through talking to her, found out that he actually loves carrots. So through all that, the most this happened because I'm special. I think it happened because I was paying attention, because my wife stayed up late, because the red light caught me off guard, because I listened to that nudge inside, and most importantly, I believe in God's time. Through God's grace that this happened. I was just a vehicle through which that was able to happen. I believe in community, and I believe this town is full of people who care just as deeply as we do. To that end, I want to say thank you for this recognition. It means more than I can say. And if you ever need a place to feel seen or a really good sandwich, you know where to find me. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you. I really appreciate the honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to get you got all this family here. You got to get a picture with all of them. So let's do that for you too. And yes, I will tell you, if you want to leave, we will not be offended. You're welcome to stay as long as you want, but if you want to take off and, you know, make him make you a nice sandwich or something, we always make the folks we honor take their friends out to dinner afterwards, but you guys have an in, so it should make it easy. So thank you. That is all I have to report this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. Just a couple of things before the legislation. We opened up bids. I don't know if I'll hold off a little bit. We opened up bids on Hosteller Road and traffic signal. Like some came back under. That was good news today. Part due to that got the work, right? So who do you think all got the work? right on my Jurgensen got to work. So that probably because of reduced mobility. Again, Crescentville repay signal work, as well as some stuff that Brighton True Edge may do as part of the project as well. So that was good news today. Second, Jim Downton couldn't be here tonight for his legislation, but he knows that I recently sent out a capital update to council, and he wanted to share the photos of the new carpeting and the breakout rooms upstairs, and he's excited about that and very appreciative of council support for that project. So we thought we would share some photos. Last, before the legislation, I know it's a few months away, but I wanted to share that Hamilton County Public Health is getting out of the immunization business, and because of that, we're not going to be having a flu shot clinic this year. Attendance at the flu shot clinic through the years have really gone down pretty significantly. I can't remember the exact totals from last year's clinic, but they were rather slim pickings from Sharonville residents. So I wanted to share that so everybody, public, can make alternative plans. Legislation-wise, there's 2 items up to vote tonight. The first one, 34 salary ordinance and some custodial needs at the convention center. The current salary ordinance authorizes time and an amount of part-time positions. Jim's having a real difficulty with filling those part-time positions and keeping them filled. Currently, there's one part-timer that's going to be transitioning back to being a full-time employee. So we'll have the 2 full-time custodial people, but Jim's asking that and administration's asking that we raise it from 2 to 3. This will also offset some contractual labor and some overtime costs as well. Jim has the budget for that this year with some contingency dollars, he believes. So next year's budget will likely raise about $75,000, but will be reduced by contractual and overtime by 40 or 50,000 or so, somewhere in that ballpark. So the overall impact is not that substantial. The next piece of legislation is police related, and Chief is asking for the authority to submit a grant.
We'd like permission or authorization to pursue a federal Bureau of Justice Assistance grant that would help us fund some ongoing programs and start breaking some ground on things that we've been discussing for the last couple of years that may incentivize hiring for us. We want to pursue the grant for advertising, signing bonuses, which would be a new program for us, wellness checkups, training, and some Beacon PT contract work. Some of those programs that we already have, like the wellness checkups, but we've never explored the opportunity to have signing bonuses for part of our recruiting program, and it would help us offset the cost of advertising to the tune of about $25,000 annually. So we're hopeful that these funds will increase our recruitment and hiring. Basically,
Is this grants, or would they, for $90,000, they might say, basically, we're going to give you 10?
last year's for the same program ranged from $4,500 to a little over $30,000, or no, $150,000. So we're asking for around $90,000. We're kind of in the middle of the road with this. It fit with the equation. It's reimbursement, so we're going to have to put the money up front, and then we get it back through the grant. And it's funding for all of 2020, so it will become available for the
But if you're asking for 90, they would either give you 90, give you nothing, or come back and say, we'll give you something in between?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They could give us any amount within what we're asking for. I doubt that they would give us more than what we're requesting.
Right. Thank you.
Any questions on either one of those pieces of legislation? That's it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. My report, just a reminder that this is the last day that the rotunda doors to City Council chambers last day that they'll be open, as we're starting some construction on this side of the council chambers. We'll still have access from the administration side. So even though it looks like it may be closed from the outside, the council chambers will remain open, one set of access doors. So keep that in mind. And I think you said there's no schedule as to when completion will be due. So just keep that in mind. We only have one council meeting this month, so we will resume our 2 meetings schedule next month, with our first meeting being August 12th. And then a reminder that Sharonfest has stated they still have the need for volunteers for their beer booth on Friday night, the 25th of July. And all the money raised, or I think a significant amount of that money raised that evening, goes to benefit the city's community fund. So if you can find some time to sign up, there's a sign-up genius that's out there. Please do so. I've done it in years in past as I volunteer for Sharonfest, and it's a good time. So please consider that. And that is it for my report. Clerk of Council, Ms. Buhite.
No report.
Thank you. Auditor, Mr. Cunningham.
No report tonight. I'll catch everybody up next month.
Same for me, no report tonight. We'll have
Law Director, Mr. Lippert.
Questions if anybody has anything. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening? Yes, ma'am. If you can come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Nancy Coles. I live at 10111 McComb Road. I am the owner, and I've been as a resident for about 30 years. The reason I'm here tonight is I'm concerned about the condition of the property at 10123. There is a lot of trash in the yard, and I've talked to Chris in community planning about 3 times, and he has been to the property twice to see it. I'm taking pictures down there to him, so he is aware of what it looks like, and he's seen it in person. The last time that he actually went there, he talked to the resident, and the conversation did not go well. He told me what happened, but I think if you're interested in that conversation, I think you need to talk to him, and you'll get it firsthand. I look at this as, what can I say, neglect. And I also look at it from a health standpoint. You're talking about trash, you're talking about plastic, or the tin can drinks, you're talking about hard plastic that dishes would be wrapped in. And the residents are aware of it, and their attitude at this point is that, so this is on the north side of the property, right on the property line. So when I go into my greenhouse or I look out my family room, it's there. There is another side to this. These people moved in the fall of the previous resident and her boyfriend that are living there. Take this pool down. So, number of 24. So they come in, not a relatives come in and take this down. And the lumber, the plastic tubing, all that goes in with this pool, laid there for months, and they did nothing. So I talked to Chris about that, and they actually brought a company in to take care of it. The other thing is, once that pool was gone, they decided to put up a 8-foot Coleman pool, which is fine, but the box it was in, the inside of the lining and various sundry parts laid on that ground for a couple weeks. So, you know, there's a history here. And I don't know, you know, I talk to Chris and I say, this is a pattern, you know, what can we do to make this go away? You know, finally the box is gone, finally all that lumber is gone, but now we're talking about trash. And there's also some in the front yard by the driveway that they have not picked up. So I'm kind of at a loss here. I've gone down there to the office at least 4 times with pictures, and he's been out there twice. And I don't know where else to go with this. So you're it. You know, either do something, help me out, I mean, the yard looks like it's, who cares, you know? That's really where we are with it.
Ms. Foles, thank you for bringing this to our attention. So, I want to say one thing, and then I'll go into what I think the process is. In the words of one of my predecessors, you cannot legislate somebody into being a good neighbor, and that's unfortunate but true. Sharonville has adopted, years ago, what's called the International Property Maintenance Code. I can't quote you the time frames that are dictated by the IPMC, is what it's called. A property maintenance issue is brought the code enforcement that the owner has to comply with the alleged violation. If they don't comply, then they are cited to our mayor's court, where I prosecute, there's a magistrate, and we do take it seriously. And the goal there is compliance rather than punishment. We would rather have them take care of the issue than pay tax dollars to have somebody sit in jail. But these are jailable offenses, and they are taken seriously. That's the best I can offer you at this point.
You know, the other side of this is the juveniles that live there are those deceased. So instead of, in the will, when Fran died, Fran was the last one who expired in August, the property went to the niece, and that's who's living there now with her boyfriend. Not the children, but the niece. That's how they decided, and that's fine, whatever. It's just, I have a real problem with looking out my window and seeing this trash. Issue, I think it's, and I said this morning, I was there, the Department of point, I think it's just, well, my perceptions and theirs are totally different, I guess, and that's, I'm right or I'm wrong. I find that really awful my window and see that trash laying there for weeks, and it has been weeks. And he said to me, he said to me today about the process, and I said, "Are you telling me that every time I come in here, that the way this is dealt with is starting over each time I walk in here?" I said, "That doesn't make sense to me. This should be a continuum. This is behavior that's consistent. It's not new." I said, "Mayor's Court." That's the first thing I thought of.
I know that we reevaluated those statutes sometime within the last 2 or 3 years that do provide for when there are continuing issues with a property, that it shortens the timeline. Again, I don't have the entire International Property Maintenance Code, nor the Sharonville Codified Ordinances memorized by heart, but I see one of my colleagues shaking his head yes across the way. So I know I'm in the ballpark here. I just can't quote you the time frame. I can assure you, let's put it this way. I agree with you. Looking at trash outside your window is not something that's appropriate. You're absolutely correct. Mr. Lucas, who's sitting to my right, is taking copious notes as you're speaking, and I can assure you he's going to follow up with code enforcement and nail down exactly what the time frames are supposed to be and if they're being followed. And if a citation to mayor's court is appropriate, he's going to encourage that department to do so. Is that fair?
I'll come out and look at it myself in your house.
Part of another part to this is that the person who, I'm assuming, what I'm thinking, a retirement center, and his child live on Amelia. So this is a niece, you know. I don't know who takes care of the bills. These two do not drive. Everybody, anything that comes into that house is brought to them. So I just don't know. I just don't know. I am just kind of at my wit's end with this trash, you know. I just think that is deplorable. You know, it's not my yard, and I get it. But, you know, this has been going on for weeks. And it's a pattern. And I don't understand, you know, if anybody's in administration or in supervision, why that can't be addressed in a timely manner. I mean, he has pictures coming out the kazoo that I have brought to him, and it still doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, it sounds like it does go somewhere. So they correct the one problem and then another problem pops up. So,
Well, but the
so,
pitch has been there forever.
I mean, Chris is responding to your calls, and I would say, please keep doing that. I mean, even if, I mean, make the call if you see something, so we can at least get it recorded, so we know it's there, so that we can start that timeline ticking, okay? And then
I go down there every week, every Monday or Tuesday.
either go down or call them is probably easier, but just do it until, and like I said, really we'll continue to work on seeing how we can streamline it, making sure that Chris is using every tool that we have available for him to use to try address that situation, because that we want him to do that. Now, Chris is newer to our code enforcement section, so it's very possible that maybe he doesn't know something that we have in place that we can use. But so we'll have those conversations, figure out what's going on there, but we're not ignoring it. And it certainly doesn't sound like we're ignoring it. Like my house, I'd want it, and I would want it to stop. We can only do so. And like you heard, the goal is to mitigate the problem. Doesn't mean that the problem doesn't keep up. I mean, it's like somebody who commits multiple crimes, you know, we can only do so much. We keep catching them. It doesn't mean when they get back out, they go and turn around and do it again. So we catch them and send them back again. Eventually, they learn the lesson if we stay on them long enough, right? And so that's what we will do. I think that's what we're doing, and we'll look at see how we can continue to up that within the realm of the legislation that we currently have in place to be able to address it. So,
Well, he knew I was coming here tonight, and he knew that I was going to possibly call Hamilton County Board of Health. And, I realize he's new. I get that. And I also know that he's got a lot on his plate. And staffing is short. That's the other thing I heard from him. So I wanted him to know where I was in this and what I was going to do. And I said, I am not one to shy away from this. I've made up my mind that I'm not going to deal with this much longer. I think it needs to be addressed. And I don't know what these two are going to do. I just don't know. He's not a very nice person. I've never talked to these people, but I've seen him yelling over there for whatever reason.
Can I interject on that point?
Yeah.
So, if you experience any retaliation or what you think is retaliation for reporting something, I don't want you to wait to call code enforcement or Chris. I want you to call the police department, please.
Right.
Okay, I'm just making sure you understand that.
On the 4th of July, I guess it was late afternoon, early evening, the gentleman, took this, I would assume, a white plastic bag, and it was on the patio, and he put there, and I can't tell you what it was. So he drags the bag off the porch into the yard and sets it just and you can actually see where it was. And I think it kind of got out of hand, and he walked over and got the hose and was watering his. So this is kind of what you're dealing with. Early on I should say late in the fall, I was walking around the back of my house into the greenhouse, and the back door to the house opens up, and this object is thrown out the back door, and it's something on fire. And it hits the porch, and I could see the flames, but then it went out, and there was just smoke. So, it's been a journey. I don't know. I want this to be over. I really want this to be over. And I know it takes time. I get it. But, I don't know. It's not like it used to be. And I realize things will never be the same. I realize they change. But, I'm telling you, it's been a long time coming. And it needs to be addressed. However you do it. Just try. I understand. But, please do something. Or I'll be back here, whatever. On a first name basis to him, and Cohart, he has a younger man. So we have a need.
Well, thank thank you for bringing this to our attention. Mr. Lucas and Mr. Lippert will work with Chris to hopefully provide a resolution to the issue.
I appreciate it.
And sorry you have to go through that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other residents desiring to be heard before council? You can come to the front, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, you've seen me before. My name is Charlotte Von Stein. Some of you know me as Nikki. 10650 Robindale Drive, Sharonville, Ohio, 45241. I am here as a resident. I'm also here as a business owner. I own Charlotte Nicole Studio of Dance. I reside here. My children go to school here. My children are on the swim team. My business has been prosperous for the past 4 years. We have been donors to the Sharon Fest for the past 4 years, maybe 3 years, 4 years. We've brought a lot of business to this city, and I'm struggling to understand if our city council is clearly understanding what is taking place downtown in our loop. My business no longer is located at 11175 Reading Road, Suite 301B. That is in the sister building, right. My landlord at the time, who owned, did not know that the building, when I was 3 years with the for 2 more years. He told me that it was not possible to renew for the additional 2 years, and I didn't really know why. I did put in a proposal for Cliff's Hardware as soon as it came to my knowledge, and I spoke many times with David about that. And I did get my proposal in on time by December 31st. When I attended the CIC meeting just as a resident, not, to get nosy with my business, just as a resident, wanting to know what was happening with Cliffs, as do many of the people in Sharonville. I was asked to speak by David on behalf of my business, and I wasn't exactly prepared. I was quickly cut off by our mayor, who very much informed us all that he knows who I am and what I do, and that the building he has a more grandiose, the city has a more grandiose plan, and it does not include. We could have quickly, and I'm stained by that as a resident. And in you, Mr. Mayor, multiple occasions, but at this very moment, you've never contact to me. I'm stained as a resident and a business owner because it was a small business that has been growing over the past 4 years, now going into our 5th year. We are now homeless. I'm quickly looking and searching for a location. Throughout the year, I feel like this city, not anyone in particular amongst the council, but that there has been great work to sabotage a small business that's been growing here. Many a times I put my yard signs out at the corners. I actually came to the zoning committee and asked, because I was being very respectful of it, about putting them out on Friday evening, picking them up Sunday evening or Monday morning. David kindly came to that meeting and said that he apologized that he was being sent to sabotage me. And the council, the zoning board was at a loss, and it was a half and half, and they couldn't decide, which meant it was a no on my behalf. That's fine. I will continue to work to grow my building as best I can. I'm going to fight for my building, or for my studio, We have many residents who have come from afar. I bring them from Liberty Township. I bring them from Westchester. I bring them from Evendale. I bring them from Glendale. I've brought them from Springdale, and plenty in Sharonville, let alone Blue Ash and others. I did put in my proposal that was sent in on December. It's a beautiful video, and I'd be happy to share. I don't know that I'll be able to share that. Here nor there, though. I'm not fighting for that building anymore. I mean, it would be nice, since nothing is happening to it. It did seem, though, that with the cutoff and the proposal being held as a cutoff as the 31st, it was explained to me by the mayor and another gentleman there that the city had already been in works with another company for several months, and so that proposal was really in their, they didn't say null and void, but all the work that I had put in for the 4 months prior was pretty much null and void. I am a single business owner. I also run my business as the dance teacher, main instructor. I put on the shows, I coordinate everything, stuff in the business that is neither here nor there. But the point is now I'm searching because about 3 months into location, put into it. Through word of mouth, because we all speak in Sharonville as we should to take care of one another, it's come to my attention that this city is buying up property through a ghost company, whatever. Yes, I'm a squeaky wheel. I know people don't like me talking, but as a business owner, it's very hurtful. Some of the businesses may, as like Cliff's, did approach the city. Other places have not. And the city has gone to them to purchase those buildings, mine in general. I do know that the BMV is in dire straits trying to find a location, and it looked like they were going to have to be up and out in March. The city did somehow continue that lease for quite some time. Mine was rejected when Tom asked if I could even move to a lower level, because the idea for those buildings, and for a lot of buildings I'm understanding, are to be reconstructed where there are apartments on top with the marketplaces below. As an owner, a business owner myself with a dance studio, that doesn't go well. That doesn't match well. My heart is here in Sharonville. I tell people from all over, you want to live somewhere in Cincinnati, you live in Sharonville. That's the best place to be. But I feel like my small business has not been seen as fruitful. Maybe that's a really crappy word, excuse me, bad word. Not worth. I don't think Mayor I am in what we do. Appreciate that. Just in the video, and I would love to show it to you, because I know, sir, Mr. Tankersley, you had asked, I believe, once before, that you would love to see that video, and I told you all to go to my website at charlottenicolestudio.com. That's what was turned into the CIC. I doubt many of you have seen it, but it was a wonderful proposal where I would be working with our wonderful theater of Sharonville Community, or excuse me, SCAC. Sorry for the lack of all the words that are in it at this moment. I was going to be working with them, as well as our wonderful, excuse me, Scott. Oh my gosh, Scott, I'm sorry. Your last name?
Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner, with his independent filmmaking that he does here in Sharonville, to give him space to that property as well. We were going to bring a lot of the arts, performing arts, into the city, since we're so wonderfully located between the city of Cincinnati and the city of Dayton, and so wonderfully located on Reading Road. Since then, Mr. Wagner is continuing to look for a location. We're all struggling to look for a location. SCAC desperately needed some additional location to rehearse that I know this city commends them on so much for all the performances that they put on. So I'm coming to you as a resident, as a business to say, do you really know what is proposed here for our city? What is happening in these businesses and these vacant buildings that have been, I just, we here talk about the ugliness of the city for so many things. To see that bank sit there, it gets sold and it's empty, and it's sold and it's empty, and that's because of the gas tanks that I understand to be underneath it. So no business owner who tries to buy that property can truly use their finances to build their business and build and tear out those gas tanks in which to make that building usable. We have the ones that are across from La Rosa's, that the signs have now come down, that they are not for sale or for lease anymore. I've tried multiple times reaching out to that location in the past, and there's nothing there. So with my understanding of how this city is slowly incorporating locations, however that they're doing it, is frustrating to me as a business owner and to many others, because I can't blame rent monies on anyone. Obviously, this is the economy that we're in right now, but it's almost insane. I can't even find a location that's doable that I can even pay for my own studio to move to, let alone renovate. And I understand that the city, or maybe the mayor does with his CIC, because I know, sir, that you are knowledgeable in many different areas here in our city and many different councils, that there are supposed to be these grandiose plans. I'm here. I'm a working business in our city. You decide to destroy the buildings that are here and rebuild and out my business. Your studio could come. Look at this, what's available here in this wonderful city, while I've been here trying to do that already for us. So, clear my head. I'm asking you to help me to understand what is happening with our buildings. BMV has 60 more days, is what I was explained, as to how many more days that they were given to stay there. Once they go, that's going to hurt our city big time. Just from working there in that connected building, I saw all the people and spoke to all the people that searched for that BMV. They would come to my studio and knock on my door, and I would direct them there. I saw them taking their buses. I saw them getting their Uber rides to come into our city. I know about driver's ed places like Tom Superior driving in Liberty Township, who children go there, and I went there. BMV did right, you BMV. He could say anybody else, but he tells people from out north to come to Sharonville. Help me to understand, how am I to find, now that I've been rejected of partaking in my location, and there is an empty Cliffs, there is an empty 2 buildings in front of La Rosa's, an empty building behind La Rosa's that I've tried to also rent, and the bank, and other places. Where am I supposed to go? And how am I supposed to make that happen for my small business that's trying to grow?
Sure.
So I appreciate your frustration. I'm the director of law, which makes me the chief legal counsel for the city of Sharonville. And unfortunately, on this topic, none of the people that comprise this body are ethically or legally allowed to talk about it right now.
I know.
So why I'm offering to speak.
Thank you. That's what was told at the CIC meeting as well. Nobody's allowed to speak, and this is going to take a long time. It's not going to happen overnight. I understand that, but as a working business, where am I to go? Because nothing is available in the heart of our city.
So to that question, have you reached out to David to have a conversation with him about
David and I have
relocation and
many a time.
options? And I mean, that would be what we are offering to you and anyone else that may be displaced as a result of purchases that we may or may not be a part of. And that is your first, and again, we understand it can be difficult and it can be hard. But that would be what we can offer to you is David, who I know is working hard with, I know he works with the BMV, I know he's working with the UAW, both that are located in the same building you're in. We'd be happy to work with you and try to help you find something in order to fulfill what you wish to do here in Sharonville. This feeling that you are, all I can do is tell you that you're who you are. I know what you do. I watched the video. It's an awesome video. It just doesn't fit with your plans that we have in the community. I think what we can say is that, you know, our goal in revitalizing portions of the community is to create a more walkable, more travelable, more dense area within the downtown to bring people there and to have people there to make places like your studio, restaurants, any other type of facility that's down there more vibrant, more and deal with some of these blighted or underutilized properties that exist in our downtown into a better usage and a better, I mean, that's the goal ultimately. And again, doesn't happen overnight, and I know it makes it difficult for you and other small business owners that get impacted by those decisions. But what we can offer is the opportunity to speak with David, let us know what your needs are, and we will do our best to see what's out there in Sharonville to try to help you, because David's got a pretty good pulse on the things that are not available in Sharonville, to try to make things happen or to help work with you.
I appreciate that. You pointed me oh so rudely in that direction at our last meeting. I've been speaking with David for almost 6 months almost a year now, trying to find a location. There's nothing. There's nothing. David has talked to me is zoned a business unless zoning changes, because it is, and it's listed for nonprofit, zero church. So me to put a business in there is not possible unless zoning changes that. I'm not really exactly sure. Well, nobody from zoning is here, but that makes that difficult. But as a small business, I can't afford I can't afford a down payment for a $660,000 building, and there's at least 2 of them in the area that would be perfect, but those aren't possible. Rent behind the Waffle House I looked at is well over $5,000 a month. Over at Park 42 that he kindly directed me to, and some other people, that's same thing, $5,000+ a month. There's multiple places here, but it's the bare minimum is $5,000 up to $17,000 a month. It's not possible when I'm looking for 5,000 square feet so that I can teach not only the young children, age 3 up to 103, in ballet, tap, jazz, acrobat, and Bollywood, classical Indian, but also the Mommy and Me, which I call Dance With Me classes, for any adult who wants to come with their child in sling and have classes, as well as continue to grow my studio into completely inclusive to our disabled communities as well, where I want to teach our blind, our hearing impaired, and wheelchair-bound students as well. So I'm trying to make this as wonderfully diverse and inclusive for the city, and something that you're not going to see from definitely a recreational studio that does not have the pressures of competitions, but it's very disheartening. Resident, ma'am, to drive through our city to see how naked it is, how empty it is. And that's not just by people walking. I see people walking all the time through our city, but that the buildings are not being utilized when I'm a company that could easily move in now if given the assistance and start to bring in those people that were already here that are no longer coming into our community. So yes, I will once again talk to David for the, I don't know how many times, but my studio is not, it's not compatible with Chester Road, which is where I've been directed to go. It's not compatible to go into a building, a high-rise or something of that. It's a one-level story location that I'm needing. So since none of you are allowed to say anything, I would just like you to know and grow in knowledge as what's really happening, because there is talk on the street. We know that the city is coming and requesting to purchase buildings, not just businesses requesting from the city to purchase. And that's how a lot of our land businesses are and possibly will be kicked out in the near future. So we really don't know where to go from there. Site, and because all we're wanting to do is make. Thank you.
Is there any other community development, Mr. Tanker?
Just a reminder, tomorrow at 6:30, BZA meeting will take place. Following that, at 7 o'clock, will be Planning Commission. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. We had met on June 10th, and my file is on report, Mrs. Buhite, so you can check that out. And that was a combination budget, finance, and project oversight. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Services, Mr. Levitt.
Good evening. Just want to say our next meeting will be Wednesday, August 6th. That's 4 p.m. We'll still be meeting in the community development. Thank you much.
Thank you. Honored Citizens, Ms. Knight.
Yes, I have two things tonight. Number one, tonight I also like to honor the city of Sharonville. The 4th of July festivities was fantastic. Every single department in the city worked together to make our citizens celebrate the red, white, and blue in a very star-spangled way. And for those who'd like to know, we received the plaque for Mark Pietmeyer. We're having him honored out in the rotunda. So the plaque's over there if you want to look at it. We'll probably honor him in September. I have to get with his wife and him to find a good date. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you.
Rule reading for 2020 and 20. A motion for late delivery of those ordinances as read. Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the first. Mr. Second. Any discussion? Yes. Rules approved. Unfinished business, none. New business, Ms. Buhite.
First and only reading of Emergency Ordinance 2025-34E, amending the 2025 salary ordinance and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2025-34-E? Ms. Knight, thank you for the first. Mr. Lovett, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshire?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Emergency ordinance 2025-34E has been approved. First reading of emergency ordinance 2025-35E. To declaring an emergency. Authorizing the Safety Service Director for an Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant through the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services, and, if awarded, accept grant funds and declaring an emergency. Thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2025-36-E? Ms. Sharpshire, thank you for the first. Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshire?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Emergency ordinance 2025-36E has been approved. Thank you. At this time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council? Seeing none, are there any other matters to be heard before council this evening? Ms. Sharpshire.
A few weeks ago, 911 fire department for their quick response. Although that was the longest 7 minutes of my life. I ended up calling 911 a second time, wondering where they were, and she goes, "Ma'am, you just called 5 minutes ago." And I said, "Well, that's the longest 5 minutes of my life." And she was so comforting. But the fire department came and checked out my husband, and all was well, but they needed to transport him to the hospital. We have a wonderful bunch of workers in that department. They were all business and just really took the care and consideration and the citizens. My heart bypass surgery. Well, he's recovering. We have needed a break. I know you're all wondering why. I did need a break. He had to be there at 5 this morning, and he's expected to make a full recovery. So thank you for the residents. We've got so much support from the city, all the residents, the swim team, everyone, and just want to say thank you. It's very comforting to be part of a wonderful hometown community, and my husband is a lifelong resident. I'm a transplant, but we love Sharonville and everything it has to offer. And on a separate note, that 4th of July was the bomb. It was hot, but it was the bomb. And good luck to the Sharonville Sharks at championships Monday and Tuesday.
Thank you. Ms. Knight?
Yes, I'm having a shout out for all senior citizens in Sharonville. At Kroger's, I don't know if some of you realize it, but to get any of the good deals, the digital deals, you have to have either an iPhone or you have to be able to download some digital stuff. Well, let me tell you, after complaining about it for 2 or 3 years, and a bunch of us other ladies decided to, now when you go to Kroger's, right by the ads, they have the weekly digital paper. And you can get all the sale items that you can never get, what you thought you were getting, but by the time you got home, you realized you didn't get them. So on the back, it explains, you just show this to your cashier, and she will give you these digital prices. So this is a shout out to all senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. It's like a public service announcement. I appreciate it. Any other matters? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion? First, in favor say yes. Those opposed, no. Thank you. We are adjourned.